Television is not the truth. Television is a goddamn amusement park. Television is a circus, a carnival, a traveling troupe of acrobats, storytellers, dancers, singers, jugglers, sideshow freaks, lion tamers, and football players. We're in the boredom-killing business. So turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
Stop them. An idea whose time has come cannot be stopped by any army.
Welcome to another episode of Eradicating Programmed Ignorance, or as most of you have come to recognize it as, EPI Town Crier. And EPI is just a little bit easier to put it at the heading. Eradicating Programmed Ignorance makes for a big title if you've got to put anything after that. So anyway, this is EPI. And as you know, for the last couple of weeks, I've been doing shows when I get a chance to do them with the individuals who have helped us to put together the newest project for the Liberty Beacon Project, which is TLB Talk. And for anybody who doesn't know by now, TLB does not stand for the Liberty Beacon and TLB Talk. It stands for Truth, Balance, or Truth, Liberty, and Balance, and we'll get into that a little bit more as we discuss. My guest today is Dan Asmussen, and Dan has been a personal friend for almost 13 years. Actually, it would be 13 years this coming month, August. And Dan has been a source of help for the Liberty Beacon Project and a part of the Liberty Beacon Project, off and on, but mostly on for about that same 13 years. If I had to say who I have had probably the longest running relationship that I can attribute to the Liberty Beacon Project with, it would have to be both Dan and another individual called Nikki Nelson. And again, she's probably somebody we're going to be bringing into a conversation pretty soon anyway. But Dan has taken the responsibility of the director of membership and community for TLB Talk. Now, basically what that means is it's Dan's responsibility to keep the membership informed, to make sure that we're doing what we can to increase membership, to make sure membership is aware of the necessity for things like following the guidelines, because that's what keeps us up and running, donating to help the project grow. And because, again, everybody out there needs to understand there is no corporate money at all in this project, and that's what makes us different. That is the biggest thing that makes us different. But again, something we're going to discuss with Dan, I'm sure. Dan, before I actually talk myself out of words, which I haven't been able to do in 67 years almost, so maybe not today. How are you? And I'm really looking forward to this discussion, my friend.
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Let me see. I'm doing the same thing I've been doing every day for 13 years without a day off. But if I didn't really think it was worth it, I wouldn't be here. Look, what I want from you before we even start anything here, before I lead you down a path where you figure you've got to talk about something that I've pretty much choreographed, I would like to give you a blanket question here. First off, what attracted you to want to help with TLB Talk? And second off, what do you see TLB Talk's mission as? And third off, and yes, answer all three of these, where do you see it going?
Well, first off, I have been obviously with you for, like you said, around 13 years. And mostly in the beginning, it was sending you articles and little snippets here and there of things that kind of led us down this path that we're on now. The Liberty Beacon Project started out, you and I started this, 12, 13 years ago?
August 19th, this coming August 19th, it'll be 13 years. And that's also my birthday. Yes.
Yeah, so it's just slightly over a decade. So in that period of time, I've seen not only the social media community itself, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook, whether it's up and coming things that weren't even available 13 years ago, like Instagram and so forth. Over the course of the last 10 years or so, it's been a steadily decline of people not being able to voice their thoughts, their opinions, whatever the case may be, as far as the corporate social media coming in and censoring people, saying, no, you can't post that. It's against our terms of service, or it's against our community standards, or whatever the case is. It started out very like here and there. It wasn't like, they were being obvious about it. But now it's to the point where it's getting so ridiculous that you can't even post anything without being slapped on the wrist and thrown in virtual social media jail. Just to give an example, I've been banned from Facebook 4 times, maybe 5 times in the last year for 30 days each, for just voicing my opinion and giving people another point of view versus the corporate narrative that's being shoved down their throat. So I saw this project, TLB Talk, as a very good way to get people informed, who may not be informed of things that are actually going on. Because when you've got mainstream media shoving a certain narrative down people's throats 24/7, 365, it's like that's all they know. They're not getting the correct information. They're getting what the big tech guys want them to hear. And it's basically been divide and conquer, because there's been a movement of people that are getting the information and they're starting to wake up and starting to research on their own and starting to realize that, hey, everything that they've been, shoving down their throat as far as, corporate, mainstream media has been either not true or just an outright lie. So TLB Talk is a way for folks to express their opinions, whether or not it's,
If
good
you can't prove
information.
it, somebody's going to step up and show you where you're wrong.
Well, exactly.
Yes.
So it's just a way for folks to come together and say, hey, look, this is what I found, or look, this is what I found. You should check this out. You should check that out. And it's leading people down an information path that they wouldn't normally have access to, otherwise. Because again, Facebook, if you post something, they're like, nope, sorry, you can't post that. It's against our, community standards. And, and mostly it's about, lately it's about either vaccines or COVID or,
or Joe Bob.
Exactly. So
Look, I've got a question for you. Hold on a second, because I can see where you're going with this, but I really want to interject something, because I really do think that this is you stopped. I stopped this right at the perfect place. Look, there's 2 words that mean more to anything as far as our mission goes than any other words in the English language. And Dan, I'm not going to put you on the spot by saying, do you know what they are? But you probably do. The 2 words are talk and learn. Okay, these are the 2 things we're not being able to do. These are the 2 things we're being restricted from. This is what Dan is trying to tell you, and doing a good job of telling you that. But when Dan says that we need a place where we can go, not just to be able to talk and tell others what we know, but to learn what we don't know. Because when you are entrapped, okay, when you are just, your ignorance is programmed so deeply that you're believing everything you're told on mainstream media. The problem here is there are things you don't know that may be critical to the survival of you and your family or those that you love. So yes, Everything you say is perfect, Dan, but what people need to understand is there are two key words. You need to have the ability to talk, to tell others what you know, but you also need to have the ability to go to a platform where you can learn what you need to know. Dan, have I got that right? And yes, I'll shut up again.
Well, yes, basically because knowledge is power. And the more knowledge you have, the more information you have, the more you are able to make decisions that affect your everyday life. So if you're always kept in the dark, if you're always ignorant of things that are going on around you, when the when things happen that you're like, oh my gosh, I did not see this coming. And we've got this other crowd of people over here going, beating their drums and blaring their horns saying, hey, we've been trying to tell you this for years and years and years, and you haven't been listening, or the things that we've been saying to you have been dismissed. Uh,
Yes.
you know, I've been called a conspiracy theorist more times than I can shake a stick at.
No.
But but it's and again, it's basically that term is used to discredit the truth, basically, because if you are knowledgeable in one area and someone else isn't, and you try to basically lead them down this information path, a lot of times it goes against their conditioning or their social, uh, what they perceive to be true or things that they thought were true. Um, Basically, it goes against their core belief system. And when you delve into that, they become like a deer in the headlights. It's like they don't know what to do. They don't know whether to turn left, turn right. Again, it's like they're so like, what wait, I've never heard of this before. And their first reaction is to dismiss it, and pretty soon you're called, a conspiracy theorist, or whatever.
Wait, you and I both know something else. And again, sterling point right there, Dan. You and I both know something else. And when we talk about programming, language is the easiest mechanism other than fear to program with. Okay. If you constantly tell people that if you're a conspiracy theorist, okay, then you are one of these crazy dudes who obviously is way off to the right or way off to the left, and you're more than likely dangerous. Conspiracy theorist. Now let's take one word off, theorist, and let's put conspiracy researcher there. Okay. All of a sudden, it really doesn't, if you look at it, have the same negative connotations, but it's the main word, conspiracy, that now is tagged with an emotional reaction. So it doesn't matter what you attach conspiracy to, whether it's researcher, whether it's theorist, whether it's expert. As soon as people read the word or hear the word conspiracy, they've already got a negative implication. So again, Dan, you hit a perfect point.
Well, exactly. And the term was actually coined and created by the Central Intelligence
Yeah.
Agency to discredit anyone that would question the official narrative, as far as the Warren Commission's findings on the Kennedy assassination. It
Mm-hmm.
was to discredit anybody who did not agree with their account of what happened.
Right.
And a lot of people started doing their own research, their own investigating, so, if you will, and things didn't quite add up to what they were being told. So this started a movement, basically, of people, not trusting the government or not trusting what they were being told. And that was basically, and this was, gosh, it's going on 60 years now.
Yeah.
But over that course of the last 6 decades, it started because I think the term came back to, because again, if you're called a conspiracy theorist, it's just to discredit you. That's the only term. That's the only way to describe it. But again, anybody who hears that word, it automatically brings a negative connotation to it. But if you look up the definition, a conspiracy is just more than one person conspiring to commit a crime,
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't happen every day, does it? It's like, I mean, come on, let's just be real here. More than one person who gets together and says, hey, we're gonna commit this crime. That's basically
It
the
is
that's the definition of a conspiracy. But again, people have heard it in a negative light so many times. It's like
programmed.
you can't get past that stigma. But that's part of the reason why I think this platform is so important, because it allows people to share information to others who may not know
Yes.
what's really been going on.
All right,
Um,
before you go much further, let me stick something in here because, again, you keep coming up with these sterling points, and by the time you get done, I won't remember what I'm supposed to say. Look, as far as all of this goes, these are the reasons. This is the political motivation. And yes, there is a political motivation. It's also a survival motivation. This is the reason to get people to talk. What I'd like you to talk about just a little bit more right now before we run out of time, because you're doing a hell of a job, I want you to talk about the need for community. This is not a Trump social media site, which we know is set up to steer politics. We know that for a fact. He blatantly tells you that. And it's the same with the pillow guy, okay? Lindell. It's basically a political forum for political steering mechanisms or movements. End of story. What we're talking about, though, is a community that not only allows you to share what you know, but to learn what you don't. So do me a favor, because the reason you're in the spot you're in, which is the director of membership and community, is because you have a decent community of followers all around you. And the ability to maintain that over time, especially on a forum like Facebook, is not the easiest thing in the world. So why don't we shift you over to talking about community and how does that blend into everything else you've already described to us?
well, you kind of hit the head on, or the nail on the head, so to speak, because over the last 10 years, when you and I first started this, down this path,
Yes.
I had a very small audience that I was kind of catering to as far as the information that I was putting out. I wouldn't put out so much information that it was like, it would explode their head, but it was just enough little breadcrumbs here and there to where they would get curious and they would start looking into things on their own. And over the course of the last 10 years, I've gone up to, I think I'm at 35,000 followers on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I don't even know when exactly that happened. It was just one day I woke up and I'm like, oh my gosh, where did all these people come from? But again, it was messages that I was putting out there and people were taking it and they were like, oh, wait a minute, this, okay, let me go, check this out for myself. And pretty soon, I had a lot of followers. So with that being said, I've kind of developed my own little community, so to speak. So if
Yes.
I can do it with just myself, imagine what we could accomplish with TLB Talk. Because again, this isn't like you said, Mike Lindell or Trump coming, and basically putting out their message to a mass audience.
Which is
This
fine.
is
That's what they tell everybody. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's not
well,
who
there's
we are.
nothing. Well, exactly, because what our mission is to create a community where people can cultivate relationships. They
Yes.
can meet new people, make friends, people that, from all walks of life that you would never get a chance to meet on the street. And all of
Or
a
you would
sudden,
never expect they believe the same thing you believe.
well, exactly, because I mean, you could be walking down a city street and you can't. There's no way to tell who
Right.
who is thinking what, or what that person thinks, or what that person thinks, or whatever. But you post something on TLB Talk, and all of a sudden you got someone else chiming in, and pretty soon you guys start talking, and then all of a sudden you just made a friend.
Hmm.
Well, that's basically planting a seed and watching it grow. So if we can essentially create a community where people can share ideas, share their thoughts, share their opinions without fear of being reprimanded or thrown in social media jail or saying, no, you can't post that, it's against our, because again, people aren't getting the correct information. But if we have a platform where people can go and create relationships and create friendships and share information, that's basically what it's all about. It's not just us putting out a certain message and people running with it. It's people communicating with each other and basically getting like there's so many times where people are just so isolated from other
Yes.
human beings, especially with COVID, because I think that's people need to get out and start socializing again, because this whole social distance thing is an oxymoron because social and distance are two opposites. You can't be
Yes.
social and be distant at the same time. It doesn't work that way. And
Unless, hold on a second. Again, you make a sterling point. Unless you are being social on something like social media. And not to drive people away from social media, because I do believe it has a key place. I absolutely do. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here talking about this. But on the big tech platforms, they drive you away from physically touching someone into a position where you are talking to someone on a platform that is known to keep you as ignorant as possible. And Dan, I want to take that to the next level, and then I want your opinion on this, okay? Listen to me, everybody, because this is an absolute fact. The people we elect, whether it's our congressmen, whether it's our senators, whether it's our presidents, whether it's our local, meaning state senators, state congressmen, or governors, it doesn't matter. The people that we elected today, right now, are standing in Washington, D.C., trying to make it as hard as possible for us to share the truth by putting pressure on, yes, putting pressure on social media. What we are looking at, and tell me where I'm wrong here, Dan, what we are looking at is our bought and paid for leaders who are supposed to be representing us doing everything they can to absolutely make sure that places like Facebook and Twitter don't allow us to know the truth. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. When did we elect anybody to go to Washington, D.C. to keep us ignorant? That's exactly what's happening. If
well,
we
did you
don't have
hear?
something like TLB talk, this gets real bad much quicker.
Yep. Well, did you hear that they are? Well, I don't. Again, this is just what I've heard through the grapevine. That they plan on monitoring SMS text messages
Yes.
uh, between the major carriers and censoring text messages between you and someone else as far as information that you're sharing back and forth. And I'm like, that's getting to the point where, George Orwell is just going, I told you so.
That's that's
It's just,
also a direct violation of the First Amendment.
oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But again, if you've ever heard the boiling frog
Oh
scenario,
yeah.
it's, people won't accept a major change all at once,
No.
but over time, if you turn up the heat just a little bit in little small increments over time, pretty soon you're in a pot of boiling water and you're being cooked alive. So
Yep.
again, it's they've been gradually turning up the heat on the violations of all of your rights, whether it's the First Amendment, Second Amendment, so on and so forth. Over time, they've been gradually taking those rights away little by little by little until you wake up one morning and you have no rights at all. And that's basically what it's what
That's
it's what it's what it's
that's
come down to.
that's not only an accurate description, but I am, or I will be, in about 3 weeks, I will be 67 years old. I'm going to tell you something right now. When I talk to people that are my grandchildren's age, okay, which is in their mid 20s, mid to late 20s. If you talk to them today and you ask them questions, things that people like you and I, Dan, or your parents and I learned every day in school over years. If you ask them things about the Constitution, if you ask them things about the Bill of Rights, if you ask them things about their unalienable rights, they will look at you like, what language are you speaking? Did you think I knew that language? This is the situation we live in today. But then Hitler once professed to the world, and I'm not making a political statement on Hitler other than what he said. He said, give me control of the textbooks, and in a generation, I'll control the population.
Well, and along with that, the last several generations, because the federal government has basically been regulating the education
Yes.
system. And, by the time you graduate high school now, you aren't taught how to think, you are taught what to think.
And when to think.
Exactly. And again, it goes through,
Yes.
whether it's conditioning through the media or, textbooks that the government has approved saying,
Yep.
oh, yeah, this is what we want to teach kids because, and this is, I'm sure everyone has heard this quote before by Winston Churchill that history is written by the victors.
Always.
So if they can control the narrative of their version of history, then kid will grow up not knowing what really happened. They'll grow up knowing what they were taught what happened.
Yeah, what they've been told. All
Or
right,
what they've
look,
been told. Yeah.
I wanted to try and keep this under a half hour, and we're hitting up on a half hour right now. But what I would like you to do is give you about a 1 minute wrap up. Let me know what you expect as far as going forward and the future of TLB Talk, what its future is. And then I'll give about a 1 minute wrap up and we will let everybody go about their day. But I knew I was going to enjoy this conversation and I wasn't wrong.
Well, personally, I would like this platform to grow. And as it grows, I want people to be comfortable in going to a place, again, where they can share their ideas, share their thoughts, share their opinions without fear of, repercussion or, not being able to post something that they either firmly believe in or they just want to get information out to other people. Um, because as of right now, you can't do that on Facebook. You can't do that on Twitter. You can't do that on any other platform because of all the restrictions that are being placed. And it's only going to get worse. It's only, if you think it's bad now, just wait another year, wait another 6 months. Um, TLB Talk is right now the place to go if you want to voice your opinion, because you obviously can't do it on Facebook or Twitter again without them coming down hard on you and giving you a 30-day ban for expressing your thoughts or expressing your personal views or whatever. So again, I want people to feel comfortable in coming to TLB Talk. I want them to know that they have a place to come where they can, meet a friend, cultivate a relationship, and not have to worry about anything else. And just have
Yep.
fun. Just go out there, meet a friend, communicate, and share information.
I absolutely love it. And I'm going to finish this off with a couple of things that I'm really sure that everybody needs to know about. Again, the first thing is this is all about community. It's not so much about politics. Politics is one of the mechanisms that we can enhance. Okay, but the actual platform, as Dan has so eloquently said and explained, is about building a community. There is a reason why we can do the things that we're telling you we're going to do. We're going to let you talk about vaccines, but if you go to just about any other platform, they're going to tell you or limit you. If they don't stop you altogether, they will limit you on what you can and can't say. End of story. If you start to talk about Joe Bob and how his brain is literally disintegrating right in front of our eyeballs, yeah, Facebook literally goes in and lags your post, whereas 100,000 people may usually see it, you'll be lucky if 200 or 300 see it that day. or on that post. What we are looking at is money, corporate donors, big money. There isn't a platform out there that doesn't have some allegiance to some form of money coming in. Absolute fact. The big difference between TLB Talk and the rest of the world is we have no corporate donors whatsoever. None. Zero. Everything that we have to build this project comes from donations from everybody who is a member. Whether they come in and throw $5 in the bucket, which is all we ask, it's free to join, but we ask that you throw $5 in the bucket so that we can build this and maintain it. Or you can click the little box that says, make this a monthly donation if you wish to make sure that we're funded going forward. Nobody's asking for $1 million. What we are looking forward to is 1 million people that each put $5 in. And then what you're going to end up with, you, the members, is a platform that rivals anything on the planet. Now, Dan, you and I have had this discussion. Everybody else out there is bragging how they've spent $5 and $10 million on their platform, and they crashed the day they opened them. Ours has been open since the 4th of July. It hasn't crashed one single time, and the total input to that, other than a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, was under $35,000, not 5 to 10 million.
Right. And
Go
our
ahead.
platform is it's very unique and very
Yes.
innovative in the way that it's never been done the way that we are doing it right now, because of the fact that Mike Lindell and Trump and all these other people who are, they want to put 10 million people on their server at once. And of course it's going to crash. You can't just overload a server with that many users all at
The day
once,
you
because
open the door. Yeah.
exactly. So again, by growing our community little by little by little, a steady growth of members. And again, I would stress to people that it's very important that you do donate, because this is your platform. It's not mine. It's not Roger's. It's not Mary Ellen's platform. It's your platform. It's your spot to have a voice where you can go and you can take pride and take ownership in something that is yours. It's the guys next door. It's your neighbors. It's
And there'll
you know
never be a point in time where the corporate money speaks louder than your $5 donation, ever.
well, right, because you get a corporate company or investor that comes in and says, okay, I'm going to invest so many millions of dollars in your platform, but it comes with strings attached. I want
Yes.
to be able to control the content that's being put out there. And again, that's exactly what Facebook has done, and Twitter and all these other ones that basically are being regulated and being told what they can and cannot be posting. And again, this is your platform. This is my platform. This is Roger's platform. This is everybody who puts a donation in the bucket to keep, because now again, the funds that come in are going to be used to expand our servers as we grow as a community, because obviously with a few thousand users, our servers can handle that kind of bandwidth. But if we grow steadily over time,
When we
we're
grow
going
steadily over time.
we're going to need to
Yeah.
upgrade those servers, upgrade the tech,
Yep.
have people in place to handle a lot of users
Add
as
new services.
well. Exactly. um, so again, this is investing in yourself. This isn't some big company coming in and laying out the rules and regulations on what you can and cannot say. This is you need to take, again, pride in something that's yours. So by making a donation, you can take personal ownership in that platform, and know that you've actually contributed to something that's in my opinion quite good. So
Yes.
again,
You've made a
it's
difference.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's, people want to make a difference. They want to be recognized.
Yep.
They want to be heard. So again, a small donation, I don't care if it's $1, any little thing that you can contribute will help us
Yes.
going forward, because again, it's going to help us, um, with the expansion on these servers that we're going to need. Uh, so again, I would stress that, again, even if it's $1,
Dan, hold
whatever.
on. Hold on a second, Dan. Let's let everybody do a little bit of math here because I want them to understand exactly what you mean when you say even if it's only $1. I fully expect in the near future, not a year from now or 2 years from now, to have 1 million people in TLB Talk. If we can get an average of $1 per month donated by 1 million people, $1 per month, what you have then is an operating budget of $12 million a year. The math, it adds up very quickly. And it's not about anybody going without food so that they can donate to the Liberty or TLB Talk. No, it's not. As Dan is so eloquently again putting it, this is about supporting the platform going forward. And if everybody, all right, check $1 a month, check $5 a month. But again, do the math. When we've got 1 million people, if the average donation per month is $5, again, this is only going to be as big as you would like it to be. Up until now, all of the money for everything has come out of my pocket, Dan's pocket, Mary Ellen's pocket. We have literally pocketed the cost of everything, and none of us is independently wealthy. So you can imagine how far below Lindell or Trump our actual expenditures actually are. But if you go and look at TLB Talk and go to any one of theirs, I dare you to say that we ain't as good, and in some cases, a whole lot better.
Well, because again, we have what I call the personal touch.
Yeah.
We don't have, because you've got other platforms that you've got guys in cubicles writing code all day and making updates and software changes and this and that. Our team right now is so creative and so innovative and so passionate about what they believe in and what they see the potential of this platform becoming, that you can tell it's got heart. I mean, it does. It's got heart, it's got soul, it's got creativity,
Yes.
it's got all of that. So I mean, it's not something to where again, people have been okay, just to give an example. So Facebook makes all their money through basically all their advertising,
And
corporate
two, yeah,
advertising.
and 2 billion members. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 billion members. So again, advertisers see, oh, they've got 2 billion users, so we're going to throw ads at you left and right, because you can't even go on there now without being bombarded with advertisements and this and that. Our platform is so much different because we don't have those corporate people coming in and
No.
doing all that stuff. It's basically you're going to fund us going forward.
Now, there will be ads. Hold on a second, because there will be ads, but let me explain how we talk about there's not going to be any corporate ads, but I'm telling you there's going to be ads. Because the ads we're talking about are going to be on specific pages. They're not going to be on the side of every page you go to so that they're mind boggling. There's going to be pages in TLB Talk where all of the members who own businesses can advertise their businesses and any specials they wish to give to TLB Talk members. So when we say there will be ads, those ads will be from the people who make up TLB Talk, and they won't be on the side of every page you go to, like I said, making your eyeballs go crossed. They will be in specific pages set up so members can advertise their businesses. End of story. Everybody
Yeah,
wins.
and
Everybody.
Roger, you just stole what I was about to say, so I
Okay.
just want to thank you for that. Because if over the last year and a half, all the small businesses around the country have basically been decimated by this whole COVID thing. So if we can get those small mom and pop businesses to um, advertise their goods and services on our platform, we're helping the small business, we're helping the little guy. We're not catering to big companies, big corporations. We're actually trying to kickstart these small businesses who have basically all been but shut down because of this whole COVID fiasco. That we
Yeah.
we can basically give back to the community, and again, there's that word again,
Yes.
for businesses that may be just hanging by a thread right now, looking for their next customer. If we can help them out and help the little guy, that's going to bring them into the fold, so to speak. And again, it isn't about big companies. It's
Nope.
about the small businesses who need a platform like ours so they can advertise their goods and services. So if people say, "Hey, I'd like to shop on your site or whatever," again, it's just going to promote a good feeling all
And
the
you
way
go to the
around. So
members promotion page and you look at what each one of the members decided to put as an advertisement for all of the other members. It won't be beating you upside the head. It will only be in one place, and you only go to it if you choose to go to it.
right, it's not going to be we're not going to be plastering things
Nope.
on your news feed or whatever.
Nope.
It's like, hey, there's a place to go if you want to do some shopping.
Yep.
Here's a list of our
Shop with
of
the
our
members.
people.
Yep.
Exactly. Yep. And it's just like if you were in a small town, Main Street, USA, and you had all these little shops and things that you could just go to, but this is all going to be in one place. You just have to click on a link, and there you go. You're right there.
All right, Dan. We went way over the mark, and I've got to tell you that I pretty much expected that because aside from all of the other things that you and I can both do well, talking is one of them. So this has been absolutely phenomenal. I really enjoyed the time. 30 seconds. What's your parting shot?
Just get involved. Come on, check out our platform. Check out the site. Again, if you feel like donating, please, by all means, we would certainly appreciate it. But again, we want you to be comfortable. We want you to have a place where you can come and uh, you know make a friend. So come on in.
Not only that, but once you get there and you get comfortable and you figure that's good enough for you, then is it good enough for your friends and the people you trust and the ones you'd like to have an open conversation with?
Oh
Because
yeah,
once you've settled in, then it's time to help build the community. Bring your friends in. Dan,
absolutely.
yep. Thank you very much for your time, Dan. And again, for anybody who doesn't remember, Dan is the Director of Membership and Community. Dan didn't have a whole lot to do. And I kept telling him, and he's probably going to chuckle over and over again while this whole thing was being put together. Dan, there isn't much for you to do right now, but as soon as we launch, it's going to be your time. And guess what? It's Dan's time. And Dan is helping us to put together a community. Dan, I appreciate the time you took to come on and have this conversation with me. And we appreciate what you're doing for TLB Talk. And I appreciate the fact that you are the oldest. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that way. I've known you longer than anybody who's worked with TLB Talk except one individual, and that would be one Nikki Nelson.
Yep, that would be Nikki. But again, I would like. I mean, I just it just baffles me that an idea that you and I came up with 13 years ago has now come to fruition, and it's something that we can be proud of. So,
Okay, I'm not going to even try and follow that. Dan, thank you very much. You have a great day, and I'm sure we're going to be talking very soon. And for everybody listening, this has been another episode of EPI Town Crier, or Eradicating Programmed Ignorance. I wish you all a very good day.